Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today we are going to be looking at issue 29 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. This is the Partworks magazine from Hachette Publishing, produced in association with Games Workshop, which introduces new players to Warhammer 40,000, the tabletop wargame, by coming out every week, priced at $7.99, giving you painting guides, rules for playing, and every issue you get some Games Workshop products on the cover, either paints or brushes or miniatures. In this particular issue, we have got some new miniatures. What miniatures did we get? We got this frame. This frame has, and we got these bases. Let's put those to one side. We don't need to see those. We know what bases look like. This is the frame of Space Marine leader characters. It's got a captain and it has got 3 sergeants, and it is a frame that is, to the best of my knowledge, currently only available in 2 other ways. It comes in the No Fear Warhammer 40,000 starter set, and it comes in the Dark Imperium starter set. It is not a complete unit of miniatures in its own right. Like I say, it's 3 sergeants and a captain. So the captain would be the leader of your force, and then the sergeants would be leading units of their kind. So Hellblasters, Intercessors, Inceptors. The rest of the units were, in those starter sets, available on 2 other sprues. Each sprue had 1 Inceptor, 2 Intercessors, and 2 Hellblasters. So once you had this frame and those 2 other frames, you ended up with a leader, a unit of 3 Inceptors, a unit of 5 Intercessors, and a unit of 5 Hellblasters. We have already had in Warhammer 40,000 Conquest one of those frames. So obviously at some point in the future we're going to get another one of those frames, and then when you combine those 2 frames with this frame, you have your units. It's a fine way of doing it. It's a fine way of building your army. It keeps people on the hook a little bit with Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, because if you only have the previous frame and this frame, you still don't really have full units. You have usable miniatures, but they're not complete units until you get that 3rd frame as well. So they've split them up a little bit, but it makes sense. It's a good way of getting you some extra Primaris Marines. It does make pricing a little bit difficult for me, because what I do with Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine is every issue I work out how much the products on the cover of the magazine would cost if you were to buy them at retail, and then I compare it against the price of paying $7.99 for the magazine, and you can see what savings ensue. With these ones, it's a little bit tricky, because obviously you can only get them in those starter sets. So what I did with the first frame that built part of these sets is I looked at the No Fear box set, which is a £50 box set that includes 5 frames of miniatures. It's also got rulebook and other stuff, which actually adds to the value as well. But I just for simplicity's sake, I basically said No Fear is a £50 box set with 5 frames. This is 1 frame from those 5, so I priced it at £10. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm saying this is a £10 frame. It is incredibly inexact. It's not. It's a simple way to kind of get a baseline of value. Obviously, it's got a captain figure here, which is actually, like I say, at the moment exclusive to those 2 starter sets. So really, you can argue that the value is much more than £10. The fact these are all leader characters, that has its own value. So you could say it's worth more than £10, but that's how I'm doing it. I'm basically saying it's one. If you were to buy No Fear, you'd pay £50 and you'd get 5 frames, so it's £10 a frame. It's not exact, but it's the best I can do at the moment. And I figure as long as I explain clearly what I've done there, that should be okay. The miniatures they're not push fit. Because No Fear and Dark Imperium don't have push fit kits, but they're keyed, so they go one way. You need to put some glue in them, but they only go one way, except for the heads on the sergeants have a choice of going in 2 different directions. I believe that's how the infantry units work. It may not be the case for the sergeants, but I think it is. We'll have a look at the build diagram in the magazine, and I will confirm that for you. But yes, you will need glue for these guys. They do not just push together. And there they are, all assembled. This guy, the captain, is a really nice miniature. I really like that miniature. I already actually have these guys because I have previously purchased the No Fear starter set, so these miniatures aren't new to me. As always with the magazine, we start off with a fluff section. Got cool artwork. There's our captain in action. So background fluff on captains, titles, shoulder pad designs, and then we go into sort of some history stuff. This magazine always has a little bit of history in there, gradually filling out the lore, and it doesn't focus specifically on Death Guard and Ultramarines all the time. It does look at some of the wider scope of what the Warhammer 40,000 universe is all about. Oh, this is cool. So this is a timeline thing going on over here, but this is cool over here. Because we've got the Ultramarine Second Company. We've got a cool little diagram showing everybody, showing all their different armaments and the way they're split up in their little units. I like that. That's nice, that is. You know, they've actually all show their different weapons that they're carrying. And there's some more. Look, there's some dreadies. I like that. That's quite a nice little visual aid thing there of the company. And then we've got some Ultramarines dealing with some Nurgle beasties. They look like they've almost got control of the situation. As much as they ever do in these pieces of art, these huge, epic vistas of destruction that Games Workshop loves so much. And then we've got a little bit of stuff on Plague Bearers. There they are. Hello. He's got his eye on you. Sorry. Again, just really nice artwork. Really nice artwork, and it's a couple of pages on Plague Bearers there. So some nice bedtime reading for the kiddies. You know, sweet dreams. And then we are into our building guide, and like I say, you need glue for these. So we've got our little build symbols which indicate yellow is where you stick some glue. It does not look like you can adjust the angle of the heads on these ones. Well, I mean you can, but I don't think they're necessarily designed to do that. There's no. You definitely can with the foot troops, with the rank and file. They have an option of changing the head direction, which actually gives them some extra posability, and actually changes the nature, the flow of the miniature a lot more than you would initially think, just changing the way that the face is looking. But it looks like with the sergeants, it's ages ago I built mine. I mean, I built mine well over a year ago, so yeah, it looks like that's not the case. It looks like they are looking only in one direction, but that's fine as long as they're not listening to one direction. And then we've got our captain. Oh, captain, my captain. And we have our Inceptor Sergeant. And it is worth noting, when they gave us our first frame of these miniatures that work towards building these 3 complete units, they included a set of 3 Inceptor flying stands. And I said at the time, you only need 1 of these for now, but they probably won't include any more, so keep the other 2. And it is the case that they have not included any more Inceptor flying bases, so make sure you hold on to those ones from your previous issue. And then we're into the painting guide. This is going to be pretty much the same as all the painting guides they've done for Ultramarines up to this point. So, you know, they're adding the black, they're adding the lead belcher. They've all been base coated in their Macrack blue. Rakarth flesh for the cape and things there. Purity seals and things. Mephiston red, Retributor armor, and then applying the Nuln oil in the Agrax Earthshade and the Astro Granite base. They've only shown it on the captain, but I guess you work on the basis that it's the same principles for all of the other guys as well. And this is something they started doing a little while back, and I think it's worth doing. I think it's a good use of a page. You get to see a close-up of the painting as it stands at the moment. These are not finished miniatures. They do say here we will return to these models later to add more details when we have more paints. But that is a very good start. They're going to look great on the tabletop. Very nice. And the next page, I guess, will be the backs. And it is. There you go. Very nice. Very useful to be able to see the back as well, because obviously they have extra detailing on the back, on the vents and the everything else on the pipe work. So it's good to sort of double check your miniature against what they've got here and see what they've done. And then we're into the rules section, where we usually get either an update on the rules based on whatever they've introduced. If they previously introduced a Rhino, so they introduced the rules for vehicles and travelling by vehicle. No new rules here, other than they've given you the captain data sheet. So we have our data sheet for our big cool leader character, which is nice. And then there is a battlefield mission here, a scenario. Doesn't appear to be anything particularly on first glance there. Nothing particularly new or exciting. It's just a fight introducing some of those extra characters that we've just built. So Captain Acheron gets his debut on the battlefield, facing off against Lord Felthius. That's going to be a bit of a smackdown. That could be fun. But yeah, so there we go. Data sheets. I love the fact they include the data sheets now. They didn't for ages. I used to get a bit antsy about it. And yes, blank page on the back. And that's it. That's our magazine. What are we going to get next time? Let's have a little look. Dun, 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 dun. If you watch my videos all the time, you'll know that the next issue is the Riser Pattern Ruins. A terrain kit, so some more terrain for filling out the battlefield, because we've transferred from a spaceship to a battle scarred world. They're introducing quite a lot of extra scenery at the moment, and this is some bigger stuff. But I'm going to talk about that in the next video. After that, issue 31 will bring us paints. Another brush. Okay. A brush, 2 pots of paint. So, okay. We will talk about that again another time. For now, I'm going to put up my pricing structure. Remember, it is the cost of subscribing and paying the cover price of the magazine every issue versus the price of purchasing the goods at retail. I'm not taking into account any online discounts you might be able to get. I'm also not taking into account the value of the magazine itself or any free gifts that you get as a subscriber. It is literally just a head-to-head with the value of the cover products versus the retail value of the cover products. Obviously taking into account the fact that I've had to fudge the value of these miniatures on the front significantly just to get somewhere. But there we go. That's it for another episode of the Warhammer 4th. But there we go. That's it. That's all I've got to say for now. I'm going to go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.